Good morning. Good morning. Try to be down here a little bit this morning. One. I'm redoing some of the sanding on this stuff to try to get into the areas a little bit to get rid of some of the very small internal peaks. So at this point, I'm actually going in and being a little bit more focused rather than just running the sandpaper over the whole texture. Hey, Tony, good morning. And Almanacs, good morning. How are you? Or good evening. How are you? There we go. All right. Joe, good day. Happy Mother Lover Week. Yeah. Good morning indeed. How's everybody? Angle it up just a smidge. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody had a nice Friday. So I'm just finishing off some of the cleanup work here. Well, I started out getting rained on halfway through walking the dog this morning. Well, nothing like you getting a little wet and nothing like the smell of wet dog. Woo. Cleaned the house yesterday. I'm sorry to hear that. By which I mean, I'm happy to hear that, but what a way to spend a day. What a way to spend the day. I'm, like I said, just becoming a little bit more targeted in getting some of this stuff cleaned up. Yesterday, I got the arms built on the Kshatriya, so there is that. That's good. So there's progress again on the model. I love it. taking down some more of this stuff. There we go. Went to Totomo Cafe and had Japanese pancakes with the wife. Once I got in her good graces, I spent a fortune on gallery compressor. Wow. How expensive, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, a gallery, I guess they're good. I mean, I'm assuming that they're doing like with a lot of companies they're buying a third party. But nice. How expensive? See, I don't know how expensive things are in Japan that aren't made in Japan. Also been building the NX-01. Ooh, in a video game full accuracy. It's been a labor adding those Jeffries tubes. So you're building an NX-01 in the on a video game, Joe? Is that kind of like a Minecraft kind of thing? As much progress as I would like. Towards getting back. Building back with nice. Joe, Nick, good morning. Tony, Nick, Joe. Japanese pancakes are delicious. I don't think I've ever had any. Have I had any? No, I can't remember. If I have, I can't remember. I'm pulling down the texturing on the model here. I thought about this last night as I was watching some TV. I think what has to happen is, and this is what's interesting about working on this at scale, it's that how much texturing is actually truly visible. You know, it's like it shouldn't be beating you over the head if memory serves. It should be, I think, relatively subtle. When are you going to start welding? You asking me? I don't know. When should I? Bead weld should be coming very shortly. I mean, I've got the well, maybe not. Maybe next weekend. I've got, or sometime this week. The body, the skirts, the feet are done. I've got to do, I'm not going to do the upper arm, but I'm going to do the lower arm with texturing. And then in terms of the legs, definitely the upper leg, likely the lower leg. And then also the patellas, the kneecaps. Yeah, it's called Empyrean Galactic Survival, kind of like Minecraft, but with space and tons of plants. Nice. Going to try to make those Japanese pancakes. Just saw a recipe. Nice. So I'm pulling back on the texturing because I think, again, it's like if I look at this right here, you know, I kind of wonder how, I mean, it's good, but I'm wondering, is that still just too aggressive? Whereas I was looking at, say, something like this one here. I'll show another one too. That one there's a lot more pulled back, I think. But at 1/20th scale, how visible would this be? Meaning, like, how in your face should it be? Gallery Apex is $600 in the US, but sells for $400. Oh, okay, so it's better here on their website. Wow, $600. Eesh. Oh. Picked up my compressor from well, what they call it, spray gunner, a while ago. I think it's called the Tootie, which is the one that has the separate tank. and that I think was about 125. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I can justify spending $600. And as people know me, I'm not the big airbrush kind of guy. So I don't spend nearly as much time as some people. If I were like, painting on a near daily basis, absolutely. You get your best tools for something like that. Their own, wow. It's just whipped egg with flour. That's all it is. I think scale wise, it's a bit intense. Yeah, I think it needs to get pulled down. Certainly the original stuff, definitely. And that's what I'm trying to do here, Nick. Is like you always, this is the benefit of kind of like taking like a day or whatever to look at it and just say, okay, do I pull this thing back? And the answer is yeah. So I'm going to continue to just like this one here. I'm going to sand back a little bit more. And I think it should be that the pits should be at one point I thought maybe 50-50, but I think those pits, the recessed areas, should be smaller and smaller or fewer. There we go. So here's an example. Here's an open question for the forum. Are you modeling workshops purely utilitarian, or do you like an aesthetically pleasing? I'm spending fortunes on getting everything to fit in. I think that's getting a little bit better. It's pulling back significantly on it rather than say like that one there, which I'm going to pull back on as well. So that's a damn fine question, Almanacs. I try to make mine not necessarily, I don't care about how appeasing it looks in terms of, oh, it looks like a nice bench. I'd rather have it be a functional bench. So for me, it's more about function over form. Having said that, I'm also, as people who've been following me, I mean, I've been doing this for 5.5 years now, about to head into a sixth. I don't do a lot of good bench cleaning. So my bench right now, you'll see a model sitting here. I got 2 models back here. I've got my tool array kind of nicely configured. In fact, I'm going to try to push it this way a little bit. Something dawned on me. I'm reaching further over this way when I could push everything. Anyway, I'm going to move some stuff over this way a little bit. But for me, it's more about having access to stuff. I've got all my tools here, all my plastic along this wall here. I got more tools behind the laptop, more brass and stuff like that. So most of the stuff for me, it's like I'm kind of in this little U shape to try to get access to it. But in terms of like, do I care if it looks good? No, not at all. Functionality over design. Well, functionality over, form over function. Yeah. I would rather have function over form. Getting back into scale modeling, I bought a ton of D-Spade tools, so my color scheme became dark gray and anodized red. Yeah, I'm less. Yeah, that kind of stuff doesn't. It's not something that I'd be interested in doing because, frankly, I mean, the only color coding I would do would be things like this. Like these are some of the BMC chisels. Like I've got different handles. It just makes a little bit more sense to have them not all be the same color. Did I need to have yellow be the 0.8? No, I couldn't care less, And in fact, there's my chisel collection here. It's kind of a mishmash of many things between MadWorks DLCs through some D-Space stuff, through some BMCs, all with different types of handles. Yeah, this is getting to be a little bit better, I think, here, Nick. I think you're 100% right. There we go. A lot more. Again, Nick, a lot more subtle, I think, now. It's stark here, but I think that's a lot less there. The workshop needs to be function. I'm not admiring the room when I'm looking at the bench. Yeah, or the tools. I don't care. I just want to be able to get to the tools. I'm the same boat, Almanacs. Good morning, Manny. Good morning. What's going on, brother? Are you just getting off work? 90% of my tools are also D-Spay. Yeah. I've got a few things D-Spay. Frankly, a lot of the stuff I'm now getting, it depends on the manufacturer. Like good conversation we've had. Oh, and we got Mike here as well. Mike, good morning. What's going on, brother? Hope you're having a fantastic start to your day. I'm not really caring much about who makes the tool. A lot of my time recently has been spent on what they call it, AliExpress, and you find like Galaxy and U-Star stuff that doesn't make it here less expensive than D-Spay, provides the same kind of functionality. I mean, a U-Star vise, because it's a little cheaper, though this is a better vise than the high Q vise. Yep, left work and getting sleep before the build day in Brooklyn. Nice. Hey, Manny, question for you. How many guys show up to that? And do any of the Brooklyn IPMS guys go to or not? I know. Sorry, I'm tackling a bunch of questions. I know you're probably getting ready for bed, but of course, I got to know. Things in reach and organized is really I'm worried about. Not about manufacturer that makes the tool. Yeah. Now, having said that, obviously we want to get quality tools, right? But at the same time, you can spend thousands on tools, right? D-Spay has their store on AliExpress, and that is where I shop for tools. The prices available is so much better there. IPMS goes, and last build event had close to 80. Wow. That's an awesome event. Well, say hi to all the boys for me. One of these days, I want to make it down to that event because I want to hang out with, both you guys and also the Brooklyn IPMS guys. Which, Manny, can I ask a question? How much crossover is there between the two groups now? It seems like, especially with, it seems like there's just a lot of the groups are just getting tighter. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be one and the same. It just seems like there's a lot of conversation between them, which I think is good. Buy once, cry once, within reason. Like, I would not go out and buy a pair of God Hand nippers. I was gifted them, and I'm happy for that. But frankly, would I go out and buy a replacement if they break? The answer is no. These $15 nippers on what they call it on AliExpress that Ray sent to me. These have been great. These are the ones that I keep on my bench. The God Hands are on my travel case because I snap together stuff more when in my travel area than I do down here. It's a healthy fluidity with both groups. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I will say this. I know that Julio and Bobby have been great. Talk with them regularly on our Region 1 meetings, and I know that there's so much in my mind. They are such a model for how you can bring disparate groups together. And it just shows that they want to come together, really, or at least meet together. I'm not saying form one group, but I'm saying they want to come together and hang out, which is awesome. Yes, everything is within reason, yeah. I have 9 different God Hands, but only because they cost a fraction in Japan. Yep. How about those Play-Doh nippers? Those are good too. I've been using those for a lot more of like if I have to do some crossover stuff, like maybe a little bit of metal or that kind of thing. The only God Hand tool that I absolutely swear by are their drill bits. Their drill bits and their hole makers. These things are these things are great. Are there cheaper ones out there? Maybe, but the drill bits, Fabulous. Jesus effing Christ. What's going on, Dwayne? Hey, Dwayne. Dwayne, how are you, man? Are you in Chicago? 1 hour as we were closing the door to the plane weather in Chicago. Oh no. So hold it. Are you in, or are you still kind of like, woo, or did you have to get diverted? So, hi. Those are the only God hand tools I have. So many cheap bits that just suck in comparison. Yeah, that's the point. Like, that's one of the things. It's like I tried those. I'm like, these things bore through beautifully. Yeah. I'm a Dulles. Oh shit. So how delayed are you? And are you even going? Boy. Dwayne's supposed to be going to the I think it's called the MMSI figure show in Chicago. Can't spell dulls without dull. When yes, I'm going. I'm going MMSI, damn it. All right, let's get back to this. But here, okay, here's the example of the other tool that it's like, I've been talking a lot about this tool. I'm sure other companies make one, but that right there for boring out holes, perfect? No. Best tool I've used so far in flexibility and in cost related. Yeah, this has been great. Love that tool. Rivet tools. I picked up these Galaxy tools to make, rivet markings. I've got a slew of these things. And one of these days I'll actually do rivets on something, but they're ready to go. Batwing is on the floor and hopefully not in pieces. Godhand is great. Want one of those Maz and Bohr guys. Yeah, those things are great. I got to tell you, the amount of benefit I've gotten out of that tool, it kind of came out like there's tools I bought and it's like the riveting tools, right? I paid a pretty penny for some of those because I got the whole collection, but it's like, they'll get used at some point. The riveting tool, I'm sorry, the boring tool, that was kind of like all right, I'll pick this up because I can see where it has a few more options than the one I have in my collection. And then almost immediately started using it on this model. So to Nick's point earlier, with rare occasion am I committed to a brand. Give me the tool and we'll see how it goes. In some cases, like I said, spending a little money makes sense. In other cases, not so much. All right. We're pulling back the texturing on this a little bit more. What I'm doing now is like I left it with maybe 50-50 raised versus recessed detail. And now I'm trying to reduce the amount of I'm just sanding it back. I'm reducing it. I'm creating fewer and fewer pits. I have a cutting block thing from D-Spray, and that's come in handy. Perfect 90-degree cuts in 45s. Yep. Hey, guys, he's sanding. He's doing the thing. I know I do this for Nick. Yeah, I mean, for cutting, I've had the chopper, which I thought worked well. And then I picked up the RP Tools cutter, and I think it's a better piece. Because it gives you, like Dwayne is describing, D-Spade basically stole their design, modified it a little bit. But I like that cutter a lot better. RP Tools makes a punch and die set, which someday I would like to get my hands on, but it is very pricey. There we go. There we go. Pulled back a lot of it right there. Guys, knocking down the peaks. Yep. It's Canon now. It's Canon now. Nice. How about that? I don't care who makes a tool as long as it's functioned correctly. Yeah. This trip will include tool acquisitions. Tool acquisitions at the show itself. Yeah. You know, for me also, when it comes to tools, I'll purchase a lot. I'll put a lot of tools in like a cart. You know, as an example, I've on AliExpress, I've got a variety of different tools. And then some of them just sit there for a while. Some of them sit there for a long while. And I just think, is this something I really need? Like when I see something come across, that's like, oh, that's interesting. Ooh, I could be something I could add to my collection. And I'll leave it in the cart for a while, and then determine after that, is it something that I wanted to purchase or not? Sometimes due to cost, sometimes due to, do I see that as being a major function tool or a minor function tool? Determine whether or not I want to buy it or not. My unsuspected gem of tools was the D-Spay spherical vise. That one has been a champ. Nice. Is it literally like a ball that kind of just sits on something and it's got a vise at the top? I picked up the Galaxy Tools or U-Star version of that. But yeah, those things come in handy for certain things, without a doubt. Little natural texturing there. Been happier with that. Minimize single-use tools unless there's no alternative. I don't actually, that doesn't bother me. Single use is, I guess what I'm getting at is, like, single use doesn't bother me if it's a single use, like a chisel as an example. I mean, this is a very specific type of thing, right? I mean, you're spending a lot, you needing to get many of them. But if I'm missing the point, let me know, Dwayne. But I don't think that you have sometimes choice to do I guess a multi-use. I don't know. I mean, this is an example, I guess, if you mean that. It's a vise with a photo etch bending tool at the bottom. I've used really the photo etch bender because I've got a separate one, but I should say that I want to buy spin blades and not the God hand ones, since they are so very expensive. Oh, I think that may be the next tool I buy. Yeah. Well, I know that Tony, you and I have mentioned recently. I believe Ray Tools has some of those. The God hands, I think, because of the steel that they're using and the quality, fit, and finish will probably be a little bit better. But the Ray Tools will be a lot cheaper. I've used the MadWorks photo etch ones, which are great, but they last maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 models worth of stuff, and that's it. Not a lot. You got it. It handles such heavier parts than the cheaper one. Yeah. I just mean a hyper-specific solution for just one problem. I think there are times when that's necessary, I mean, Dwayne, maybe I could be wrong about this, but I could say that boring tool, that Mazda boring tool, is kind of like that. It's a very specific function. It's designed to make holes or enlarge holes in rod. All right, let's start working on sanding this surface. I'm going to sand until 7, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over and we're going to start texturing some more, applying the texturing. So we're going to do a very, very quick pass on this. Let's see. Yeah, Ray does. But I made a. Oops. Let's see. Sorry, I got this. I missed a few things. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going back a little bit. For this one problem. If a single-use tool performs that task much better than the alternative, it justifies its place in my kit. Agreed. I agree if you use it multiple times. Yeah. And again, it's a personal assessment, you know. This is why, like, when I hear guys going out and buying, I've got an airbrush for metal painting and an airbrush for water-based acrylics, and I've got 6 or 7 I've got a small collection, but the 3 that I use are based on size of needle. And you know, I didn't go out and buy the most expensive airbrushes out there, and the reason is airbrushing ain't my thing. You know, I don't go out and buy wicked expensive, natural hair brushes, partly because, hand brushes, because one, I think there's a little bit of cruelty to animals going on with that. Synthetics are fine and they're cheaper. You know, a $20 brush, hand brush. Again, maybe if I were in a different class of painter, I'd be fine with that, but that ain't my deal. Just only if it's part of your regular workflow. Getting high live. Yeah, I'm getting there a little bit. Dude, yesterday, I need to, like I said, and that's an investment that needs to get made. I need to get some kind of an extractor mounted over the desk here in order to just get rid of some of the smell. My lungs yesterday when I was walking away, it's like, yeah, I'm feeling a little bordering on being asthmatic. It's like, yeah, it's not good. All right, so looking at this real quickly, this has now been sanded down. And, yesterday I would have probably left it like that, but I think also just talking with Nick, just kind of getting some of Nick's take on it, I think that to me would be out of scale. So this is what I did today, which is bring down a lot of this. And even this one, I think, still needs to come down a little bit more. PPE, George. Yes, I know. Wear a respirator. I got to get a new respirator. The straps on mine have failed. That might be a new purchase. But it's also very hard. I couldn't do this and have a live stream and wear a respirator unless I put one with the microphone inside. Then I'd sound like Darth Vader. How much shipping is for? There we go. I'm also keeping this off camera a little bit. That way, I'm further away from it. Darth Daddy, who knew? You can do it. Muffling is okay versus you getting sick. Yeah, probably. That's a conversation for another day, Dwayne, between you and me and some beers. So one of the things about this is, and we're just talking about getting the scale right, but at the same time, I think it also goes more than just being in scale. I think if we think about it, we got two disparate things going on. Okay, a little modeling philosophy maybe here, right? Well, there's a $35 difference in price between a new type and Amazon for the God Hand spin blades. Amazon is the cheapest. I'm not surprised by that. Depends on who's selling them, right? My first investment for my workspace was a proper evacuation system. Yeah, I like beer. Me too. I like good beer. I can't drink swill. I think there's a big point of making something. Also, scale is important, but as you know, if you watch guys like Martin Kovac or John Bias or any of these guys, even Adam Wilder, they frequently will talk about, yeah, scale is important, but making it look artistically pleasing is also important. So if the texturing on this is wrong, but it kind of highlights what you wanted to do. I mean, I'm not saying make it egregious. You have to try to balance between scale and getting the artistic side of it right. Excuse me, frog in the throat. So I'm bringing down this thing quite a bit. I think like I think sometimes and especially when you're dealing with a model, it's like, calling out the getting like, for example, like getting the texturing here so that it shows is important. So people go, wow, that's texturing. Now you might have people going up and just saying, well, that's the 1/20th scale figure, not quite in scale. Okay, and I'm okay with that because ultimately I want to show that there is texturing. I'll show you what we got right now. See, that's brought down quite a bit. And even now it's showing like it could probably be brought down some more. Where's Nick when I need him? It's crazy. 65 years, $30. 65 versus $30 gonna check AliExpress. First of all, $65 on Amazon Japan. Well, wanted to see if they actually had sometimes next to the part number, they'll include a price. They don't here. If memory serves, I picked these up from one of the Japanese stores, online stores, and I think I probably paid about 20, $25 per package. $20 on Amazon JP. Oof. Yeah. See, that sounds about right. Like I think I got those from either Hobby Link Japan or what's the other one? Shit. Hobby Search. There's $70 on AliExpress. Yeah. AliExpress isn't always a deal. Yeah, in fact, right now, what I'm doing is I think I'm actually going down, reducing this even more to the point where I thought maybe I'll do like 25% recess. I think I can go even smaller. So a little tangential thing. So, and you guys know me. I work I'm an integrator. I'm a systems design and sales guy for an integration company. And what that means is we integrate technology into a home. So audio, video, networking, lighting control systems, smart thermostats, all that stuff. Shades are another part of our oeuvre, if you want to call it. So interesting thing about shades, shades have like, if you got like a sheerness to them, there's an openness factor to it. So you got anything from a blackout shade, which is 100% opaque. You cannot get light, will not pass through it. Or you might have a shade that has a 1, 3, 5, and 10% opacity, or openness, not opacity, openness factor. And quite often people are like, well, 10%. I mean, 10% doesn't sound like a lot. You're letting 10% of the light through. But if you've ever looked at a 10% fabric up on a window on a sunny day or even a cloudy day, it's like that's letting a lot of light through. 5% is usually where I go if it's a certain view, like if you're dealing with a northern view. But when it comes to east and west, 1 and 3% are not uncommon. And it sounds like, wow, you're only letting in 1% light. It's like, it's surprising how much light 1% really is. So in relation to this too, I'm thinking it's like, I keep looking at the texturing on this thing. I'm thinking, well, 25% sounds right. But as I'm bringing it back and looking at it on the camera here, I'm looking at this part and I'm saying, I could bring this down some more. So I'm going to bring this back up here and looking at that texturing. It's like, I can continue to bring that down some more because I still think it's still a little too rough. So maybe it's going to be like only 5% of the pitting is going to be visible. And that's okay. Yeah, actually, I'm thinking it's just getting better and better as I'm doing this. Now, at some point, again, I'd rather tell the story than be, completely accurate. No, not always, but it never hurts to check. Sometimes you get better deal. Yeah. In fact, I'm getting pretty happy with how this is looking, and I'll probably end up duplicating all of this onto the rest of the model. This might be sort of the reference point. Yeah, bring it back up. Even that still looks a little intense. Impacts the result of the look of the result 100%. Yeah, I'm looking at it from this angle and it's like, oh, this looks like it's probably good enough. But then when you put it on here and you get different lighting and some shadowing coming across, you get a completely different feel. I guess Nick must have bailed, that son of a bitch. He pops in, critiques, then pops out. Nah, I'm kidding. I understand Nick can have his hands full very quickly with a lot of things. 2 young kids will do it. Pets will do it. Work will do it. So I'm just busting on Nick right now. Yeah. So I've just reduced this thing. So if you take a look at the dark patches on here, they've been reduced significantly now. But that texturing is looking a lot better. What? I was letting the dog out. Unacceptable. Unacceptable, Nick. Me over your dog. Hey, by the way, how's your wife doing? I'm sorry to change things a little bit. Hopefully, starting to feel a little better. Yeah, I'm getting happier with this and how it's looking. And again, I defer to people like Joe and Nick when it comes to things like, guys who've actually worked in, and maybe metals. and seen casting up close. I have seen it up close, but do I have a good visual memory of it? No. She will survive. Yeah. Still a little heartbroken. Yeah. I mean, it's still pretty fresh, right? So Nick, after our I think it's almost exactly what Tony just did too, right? So right after our uh, older cat died when our kids were young, we're like, okay, we're gonna go through a grieving process. We're gonna wait a little while, and I think within 2 weeks we got another cat, and that was part of that. Anyway, real quickly, that's I think looking a lot better. In comparison to, I'm going to bring this up real quickly. Yeah, see, this I think is still a little too aggressive. I'm going to bring it down a bit. Yeah, I'll let go of that trauma. Yeah, nope, we still have cats. But you could get another one. Her new cat. There we go. There we go. I'm happier with that. I think that looks better. Let's take a look and see how it looks here. Yeah. And I think we're going to stop there again. Because ultimately, again, what I want to do is I want to get I want the story to come across of what's going on here. So, okay, so those pieces are done. Those are not. And just for reference, that is what the surface currently looks like on the model, with just some real quick touch-up sanding. I had the new dog in the works before I made my decision, to be honest, but the old guy just needed to be at peace. Sucked they couldn't have met, but it is what it is. I got it. So you were planning on getting a new doggo anyway. But Tony, can I ask a question? Was it also a decision you knew your older dog was about to go out anyway, so you're looking at a replacement immediately? Maybe there would have been crossover. It just didn't happen. All right. Why don't we lay down some more of this goo? Trying to remember which the wires are glued in. Oh, this is gonna fucking suck. All right, here's what it is. Let's pop the wires before we do that. I'm gonna leave the hand on. There's no reason why not to. Real quickly. So I'm gonna leave the hand on just so I can hold on to this thing while I'm actually stippling stuff on. The wires are secured to the lower part of the arm, not the upper. So I will release that. And this is the left hand. So let's just mark this as left. Up top, up here. Pop the wires. Separate. Okay. There's that. There's that doodad. Let's pull the wires up a bit so I can get underneath them. We have the dog we have now because he was to keep our other dog company after we had the two senior dogs. Now we just have the one dum-dum. You show such respect for your pets. Take this thing off. It's actually getting a little pretty warm down here right now, which is good. Weather-wise, things have been pretty nice, which is good. Yesterday was, I think, in the 60s here. Not bad. Okay. All right. Oh, man. There's no way of mixing this, so. Come on. Cap it. Yeah, I knew his time was coming, so I hate not having dog in the home. So I was kind of looking. Yeah, that makes sense. We had him 6 months before having to put our third down for medical reasons. Yeah. It was cold yesterday in the morning and evening, and this morning I had my coat on and it was warm. Oh, it's crazy with the weather. It is going to be 77 today. Okay, I'm going to try to sleep for 45 minutes. See you guys. Dwayne, safe travels, brother. Take it easy, and we'll see you. We'll talk to you probably tomorrow or the next day. When I say Dum Dum, I mean it. He is the worst dog. We had 0 recall and listens to nothing even after training. Oh, God. Yeah, really. All right, let's do this. I did get the arm. Why the fuck did I put the arm? That's the upper. There it is. Jesus Christ. And bigger would have bit me. Okay. I'm going to use the softer brush right now rather than the larger brush. This stuff is really... It's this juicy stuff here is really problematic. In fact, let's do this. Let's try this again now. Go to the other brush. We have the airport at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So, yep. Post-show report. Nice! You know, listens when I put my bulldog's hunting collar on. My old dog's hunting collar because he knows it gives a shock if he acts up. Yeah. Our engineer brings in his 2 French bulldogs to the shop. One of them, easy. The other one has a shock collar all the time. Just does not like to listen. All right, this stuff here, it's interesting. It's starting to behave a little differently than I'd like. There's also appears to be, there it is. There's another one. Are you effing kidding me? Oh, shit. Fuck. Hand fell off, which means I know I flat spotted something. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. There we go. Whew. Last night, I did get a chance to finish season 3 of The Bear, which once again, the last episode was, I would not say it was the strongest in the season, but even their weakest points, their weakest episodes are better than most shows' good stuff. Absolutely fabulous show. It's quickly moving up into like the top 3 of my all-time favorite TV shows. 3 seasons in, and it's like, god damn. R.I.M. Bonsai. Hey, you popped up in my feed. Short intro. I am a guy who likes to talk to people while I'm building a scale model. Currently working on a machining Krieger piece. How are you? Surprise the Bear's label. Oh, I remember the first time I started watching it. That's how it came up. Bear, season 1, comedy. I'm like, all right, I'm kind of in the mood for something lighter. I'm like, I don't see comedy here. Yeah, I think they completely mislabeled that one. It is amazing. It is absolutely fabulous. I'm looking for. Last night I went to bed late just because it's like I wanted to finish season 3. Absolutely stunning TV show. Absolutely stunning TV show. All right, let's get some of the juicy stuff over here. We're almost done with this piece here. I just have to get in and amongst the. Oops, no, got to get the drier stuff now. I'm gonna let that thing tack a little bit. Yeah, but it's mind-blowingly impressive. The acting, there's everything that you can do right in a show, they're doing. Tight scripts, excellent acting, beautiful photography. I mean, it is unparalleled in that it gets all of that stuff right. Pull these things back a little bit more. I'll try to get in there in just a second. Now Nick's going to bust on me again. You should be using Vaseline. Yes, you're probably right. I should be, but I'm not. There we go. That's good enough. Except that. Ooh, what the hell was that? Way too much stuff in there. In fact, I think the problem is my brush is starting to pack up so much. Let's get the I'll set that down for a second. Let's clean the brushes. Short intro. As an uncle work interrupted by 3-minute segments of engaging conversation. Yeah, exactly. I guess Almanax is now my new communications director for the channel. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I know. Only thing I can say to that is loser. Yeah, I know. I'm a loser. What can I say? Ooh, excuse me. A little burpee today. I apologize in advance. All right. We're almost done with this. I've got the majority of it all done. I'm just going to hit up. And again, one of the things I'm also trying to remember to do, I don't have to go all the way up to a part because I'll be doing some kind of bead welding in there. Weld beads. So not as hypercritical. Okay, now let's go low. And we're going to start over on this side, then we're going to rotate the hand afterward. Something tells me it's going to take this texturing thing. I thought it was going to go a lot more quickly, but there's a lot. I'm going to have to take the hand off. Scheiße. I am going to have to take the hand off. To get into the sort of that collar area where the hand is. Let's see. What's the pay? Application multiple by 0. Yeah, exactly. The pay, you get an attaboy. Yeah, not a lot. Almanacs again. Forgive me if I ask, and look, you never have to respond. Couple questions, because you're the new guy. So the first thing is you're from Denmark. You said. I'm assuming you a permanent resident in Japan, or you're just there for a whatever length of duration. And I know I think I asked yesterday, and if I didn't, I apologize. But we always go by first name, so I'm George. If you want to give us your first name, that's great. And if you don't feel comfortable, not a problem. There you go. Maybe I won't have to take this thing off. I'd like to not take the hand off because I really want something to hold on to this thing with. And that I think is good enough because the rest of it won't be seen. I know. It's not that a boy, it's attaboy. I know. He does it better. And it is kind of his shtick. I'm stealing from him. Remember, hold a second. The theft is the highest form of flattery. Okay, now let's just do a little bit of cleanup. Then we're going to clean up the brush. We'll move on to the other arm. This is going to take longer than I thought. There's one. I mostly just care about the sides. Yep, there we go. That's good enough. Okay. Going to leave that just like that. I'm a somewhat permanent resident of Japan. Nice. Good for you. Obviously, there's many of us who wouldn't mind being in that position either. My goal still remains, with luck, to be able to get to Japan in 2029. There we go. that sucker. Oops. Jeez. I think I need to get croquis. All right. That's done. That's textured. Let's take this one apart and work on this one now too. We're going to get some fresh Bondo. And I'm going to start to use, I'm hoping, less and less of it. Right there. There we go. Pushing those out. There we go. Good, good. We'll now label this one right. I'm married to a lovely Japanese woman who lives in Japan. I work for a DK company, and for pension savings purposes, I must retain my tax liability in Denmark. So I'm 6 months in Japan, and I am 6 months in JP and 6 in JP a year. Oh, interesting. You're not thinning Bondo? It's right from the tube. Right, straight from the tube. I don't think it needed to be thinned at all. When I did my initial testing, Nick, and from what I saw from God, what's his name? It's pissing me off now. Nato over Rice, when he did it, he also just went right from the tube. I don't believe he thinned it. Some of the things you do thin, but not this. Sorry. 6 and D. Okay, so you're half and half. Does your Almanacs, and again, I ask questions just because, again, this is how we become friendly. You're going to learn a lot about me and probably like, oh, Jesus, I don't want to know that much about him. But I ask a lot of questions about people too. So does your wife join you when you go back to Denmark, or do you guys live separate for 6 months? Yeah, Nick, just straight out of the tube, just putting it literally on this little medicine bottle top, which, oh, shit, man, this stuff is just like really. Just clean up here. Okay, time to switch out some paper towels here. I'll throw that one there. I got a paper towel kind of in the trash can just for this purpose. Let's go right here. There we go. And I'm using less and less of it. Yesterday or the day before, whenever the hell it was, if you guys recall, I put out like a shit ton of this stuff, and it's like, God almighty, it dried so fast. It just starts to harden quickly enough that I don't need to put that much out. Stay. Let's get another piece of paper towel. There we go. Okay, I just remember when you were testing, I thought you thinned all the different. No, some of them were not. I actually went back and looked at the video again. I think I might have not video, the post that I did on Instagram. I think I showed all 4 types and what I did with them. Only maybe 2 of the 4 that I tested, I did with thinning. But hi, I'm Peter. I'm 50 years old, and I work as a business process specialist for the world's leading offshore wind turbine producer. Hey! Oh, we'll talk about that. She stays in JP as her career is with the JP company. Yeah. Wow, that's got to be harsh. I mean, don't get me wrong. Just as an FYI, my wife lives in Maine, and we see each other when she comes down for business trips or when I can take a weekend for going up or she comes down. Long distance relationships. If you can make those work, you can make anything work. Anyway, thank you for filling me in. And Peter, again, my name is George. Please feel free to call me George. Yes. Okay, so we're good. We're caught up. I think the other thing about this, Nick, is, of the 4 methods, I probably could have used any of them. But one of the things I did was on the, let's real quickly, let's bring this guy down. I really want to get back to this guy at some point. I really do. Not there. So this is the hull of the tank. I did not, obviously the hull did not get any texturing. However, fuck me. I realize I buried this son of a bitch. Yeah. That's 1/72nd scale. And that looked good on this. This is 1/20th. So I think in this application, I think this is a mix of the MLT and I think it was Tamiya putty. I've got to take a look. But this was appropriate for this model. And there's also, you can actually see the bead welds. So on this model, that was fine. Excuse me, put this back without doing damage to any of this thing. Let's do that. Okay. Put that back up here. But on this thing, this is 1/20th. Excuse me, guys. This is 1/20th scale, so I'm guessing things are going to be different, right? I worked for a subsea excavation company that buried the power transfer lines to land for a few offshore wind turbines. Yeah. First of all, I just want to say something, and this is not meant to be political, but it is going to get political. Fuck our country and what it's saying about wind. I'm sorry that they may look at oh God, they make my golf courses look like shit. We need to work into an alternative energy. And frankly, wind is a great thing. Solar is a great thing. Are they perfect? No source is perfect. But frankly, Peter, I'm so glad that you are, that's where you work, and that's not that it matters, but I'm happy to hear that that's what you're doing, because I personally think that's excellent stuff. And that the United States has decided to abdicate its role in wind energy, stupid. But it is what it is. I want to rebrand to right answers now. Okay, I'm in favor of that, by the way. I am in full favor of that. I think people who would be joining and looking at that and saying, what the fuck is that? I love it. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There we go. Thanks. I thought long and hard about my name. I think it describes me very well. I think it's a great handle. In fact, isn't that what life is really about? For for every answer, there are always more questions that are coming out, so we are left with more questions. Yeah. The president theory is sound from the wind turbines causes cancer. Again, my political thing usually happens on a Thursday night, which I haven't done in a while because I've been kind of like a little too burned out with dealing with some other stuff. Uh, but I think whatever our president says, I look at it this way. He's like my boss. If my boss makes a business decision, whatever he says is the way we should go, he's usually in the wrong. And I look at our president in that same fashion. If he thinks that this is right, it's probably 100% wrong. So, and if he says that it causes cancer, that's great. Show me the proof. Causes cancer. That's fucking brilliant. Anyway, enough of that. Like I said, we'll table any of that conversation for a Thursday night. Who knows? Maybe this coming Thursday I'll do something. Depends on how I feel. I've actually been doing I think there's a couple weeks back we were talking about, how much time I spent watching all that stuff. And look, I'm going back and forth. I've been listening to a lot of music. Recently, I've kind of pulled back on some of the political stuff. In fact, I've also started watching John Bias's videos again, which is great because John's just such a calming presence in the hobby for me. I love him. Okay, we're almost to the point where I can pull out the smaller brush. I saw something this morning just really quickly, and this is, and we'll end it here. I don't care what political party you're on, as long as whatever you believe in is, and you guys know how I end my videos. It has to be about being kind and courteous and beneficial to humanity. If it's about rage and anger and hatred and demonization, it's just wrong. And it bothers me that the American electorate buys into a lot of that hatred, because I generally don't think that we are a hating people. But 60 years old, and maybe I've been wrong about this. Who knows? That's exactly. Wind power is bad. All those poor birds. Yeah, poor birds. Yeah, I agree. Again, nothing is perfect. I'm not gonna lie. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. Nothing to do with politics. That was just too funny. Yeah. Yeah. Funny, not so haha. Okay, let's get in here with this. Oh, there's going to be reductions here. A lot of sanding. Okay, we're almost there. Well, I might have to lay down some more of this stuff. Anyway, anybody got anything special planned for the rest of the day? I mean, I know the day for Peter is probably almost done. But anybody else got anything special planned? little too heavy here. Clean off the tip on this thing. It's just stuff's getting just a little too thick. Not applied the way I want. Yard work. Heard you on that one. I don't know American blog because I am a foreigner, and thus the definition I'm looking. Not understanding the binary political system that is doomed to always cause an us versus. Oh, I agree. I think we're done. Or I shouldn't say that. We should be done with that kind of system. I agree with you. I think having a multi-party system makes a lot more sense. Coalition building makes a lot of sense. I also heard something recently, which I'm not going to discuss today, about a reconsideration on how we elect representatives, which I thought was a really excellent analysis of how politicians, particularly people in the House of Reps, get elected. I thought it was great. Like I said, not going to talk about it now, but I thought it was good. And I don't blame you. I got to tell you, I'm jealous of a lot of you folks overseas. You guys got a lot of shit straight, and we're kind of figuring it out. Just some yard work and some welding. Nice. What are you working on your 1-to-1 project, Nick? If it stops raining, winterize my back patio. What do you have to do to winterize it? Sleep at some point, as it is 8:30 p.m. Yeah. Looks like a good topic for Thursday. It does. Preferably Thursday. Trying to be a lot more, respectful of what we do here on the show. Like I said, and just, and I hope people understand when I talk about the politics thing, it isn't to antagonize, to vilify anybody, particularly not anybody here. I understand that there are people who are not on the same political view as me. As long as in the end, we are all respectful towards each other. That's all I care about. We show love and respect. Guys, you've heard it from me before. I have a certain faith, and my faith tells me that you have to, you treat people with a level of kindness, and you treat those who are the least of us with the most kindness. If we can do that in life, great. And by least of us, it's like the people that we generally like to vilify. Just show love and respect. Let's start with that. Everything else can fall in after that. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious what you're doing by weatherizing, Tony. Need to take the yard swing apart and put the grill away and move the patio. Oh, wow, that's a lot. I'm going to get my grill put away, the weather, and also the furniture. Funny enough, I leave my grill out year-round because I will grill in the middle of winter. I love grilling. It's a gas grill, and it's probably beat to shit. It's about 22, 23 years old now. It was a Father's Day gift from 2002, I think it was, from my wife. Well, we had 1,000 years more than you to work out the kinks of our democracies. Yeah, you're a young nation. We have houses older than your. I know. I'm a huge fan. By the way, Peter, you'll understand. I'm a huge cycling fan. Like, the world stops for the Tour de France. And I also watched the Vuelta this year. The one thing I haven't seen, if I can't recall if the World Championships have happened yet. But one of the things that I love watching when you're watching, the races going through all these different countrysides, and you hear about, yes, and this church was built in 900. I'm like, that's pretty fucking old. Or this is a fairly recent church. It was like designed in the 1500s and it was completed in the 1700s. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. Grilling season is every season. Amen, Nick. Amen. There's a charcoal grill. I have it's a charcoal grill. Yeah. I've only used it like 4 times this year since it's almost always just me eating alone. Really? At a gas grill, I use it. Yeah. That's what we have. It's a gas grill and it gets used year round. But to Nick's point, yeah, if I were in Texas, oh fuck yeah, I'd have as much as I don't do red meat anymore. But if I did, or doing some kind of chicken or turkey or whatever, I would absolutely have like a smoker. I would like to get a smoker at some point. Maybe when I redo my deck some year. All right, let's go in. Having a hard time here for a second, guys. Give me a second. Again, this stuff is the application. I think if I recall correctly, and it's been a little while, texturing with the MLT stuff was easier. Texturing with the other stuff was easier. I don't recall having this amount of drying issues. And then the brush is packing up like this. So I like what I'm getting for a result, but it's definitely you're working it more. All right, there we go. Gonna clean the brush and then just get the one top area done, and that's it. My son got me the Father's Day lamp. It was very nice of him, but I wanted a gas grill. Yeah. I'm allergic to the Tour de France. Only 2 sports more boring than our soccer. Oh, you're banned. You are so banned. Oh my God. Never say anything bad about the Tour. When I finish the smoker, I set it in place. It will not move again. Us will stay around the house when we move. I estimate around 600 pounds. Holy Christ. Really that much? Wow. Damn. You cannot say anything bad about the Tour cycling. Oh, God. Greatest sporting events on the planet, bar none. Y'all can keep your football, American football. Can't stand that sport. Y'all can keep your baseball, and I do like hockey. I'll grant you that. I do like hockey. And I'm not a winter kind of guy. I don't like winter sports generally. But cycling, oh man. Greatest sport on the planet, bar none. Okay, we're almost there, guys. There's so just to get kind of do a little recap here on this. So, do I like the way this is coming out? And the answer is yes. Do I think this is an excellent solution and not an expensive one either to apply this kind of texturing on a certain scale? The answer is yes. Is it easy or fun to work with? I would say it's not as enjoyable to work with as it is to work with putty and surfacer or MLT. Tour de France is like a Brazilian daytime soap opera. You haven't a clue what's going on. You can miss 20 episodes and nothing changed. Oh, no, not even close. Love hearing the commentators talking about strategy in the tour. Here's some strategy, and then pedal harder and come first. No, it's so much more than that. Dude, I've been watching the tour for, I think I just completed my 30th year. And especially when you see how team tactics are done, and when you see certain people like Tadej Pogacar, who is just, I think we're currently watching the greatest cyclists in history right now to date, and even probably going to beat Eddie Merckx in how he does things. He is just a phenomenal cyclist. But hey, I get it. People like to watch motorsports like Formula One or NASCAR. It's like that to me, like, yeah, no, not even close. Okay, we got this second arm done. What time is it? 7:46. I think we're done with adding texture today. Tomorrow, I will start working on the legs. I'm not going to lie. I think at some point, it's just like this process, at least maybe using this material, is now that I'm dealing with some more intricate parts and how this stuff is drying. It's the experience is not as, like I just saying a few minutes ago. Using this stuff is just not as fun. So yeah, I'm gonna do this. I think the next couple days we'll get this done. It is. Oh, we have to talk about tomorrow before I forget. Tomorrow I may be on, but it'll be for a very short amount of time. I may only be doing sanding because tomorrow I'm going to my last show of the season. The greatest two-wheel race in the world has motors, and it is the Isle of Man. To which I can only say, eh. Though there is cycling on Isle of Man, and one of the greatest sprinters came from there too. Tomorrow, leg day. Exactly. Let's see. How can you tell if a sport and not a high school chemistry experiment? They revoke so many medals and had to go down to 8, 12 points. Better is to find some who got juicy. Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Dude, I used to be a huge Lance Armstrong fan. Huge. And then when he basically said, when he basically said, yeah, I doped and destroyed other people's careers. Yeah, he is persona non grata. The UCI pulling his medals from him, pulling his victories, absolutely deserved. He's an asshole. I'll behave and stop talking. Yeah. No. It's all look. It's all good. I understand that people aren't going to like what I like. I mean, Nick's talking about motorsports. I can't stand motorsports. Cycling on the island must be a drab watch. I don't know about that. Depends. Depends on who's doing it. Anyway, yeah, the experience with this material isn't all that fun. I'm not gonna lie. It is not all that fun. All right, regarding tomorrow, real quickly. Tomorrow I'm going to the my last show of the season. I've done tomorrow will be 4 shows in 4 weeks, and I'm tapped out. Tomorrow is GraniteCon up in New Hampshire. I'll be heading up there to help judge the Gundam competition. I got to take a look to see when that is. It's about an hour and change drive, so it is possible I will do a live stream, but it'll be not a weekend long one, and maybe about an hour. I'm packed up and ready to go, so generally there's not much I need to do to get ready for the show. So that's good. So yeah, tomorrow, if I am on, it's going to be for a short session, but I will be on tomorrow for a little bit. It's all for fun. Of course it is. I have no right to dictate your legs. Absolutely. And I feel the same way. You know, this is, I think, kind of comes back to some of the, again, kind of taps into the political side a little bit, but you know, we get into our places where we think that my view is right, your view is wrong. And that's when we get hate and animosity. And 100%. If you're into motorsports, God bless. If you're into American football, God bless. My sister loves American football. You know, if you're into whatever it is, that's great. You know, you may not be into it, and that's fine. Don't vilify other people for doing it, except for golf. That you can vilify anytime. Just kidding. Another sport I can't really stomach. Okay. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. I'm right now I'm just going back to sanding stuff just to bring some of this texturing down again. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think this is I'll show this real quickly. Like I think that's getting a lot better and more akin to what I think is appropriate for this. Hi, Mavis. Good morning. How are you? I hope that wasn't too loud. There are only two rules. Rule one, I am always right. Rule two, in case I'm not, see rule one. Exactly. Exactly, Peter. All right. Again, looking at this, as we start to pull back the texturing, that I think is a lot more appropriate. Now we'll see what it looks like when it's done, but I'm liking what I'm seeing right now. It's definitely better than it was, I think, when I started this. Let's go to the feet. I'm going to work on one of the feet now. I'm going to have to kind of clean up some of the stuff that got caught inside there. Clean that out after we get the rough cleanup done first. I'm using the camera now just to kind of take a look to see how that looks. Under here, I know it got a little wonky. I think I might have had too little juice, or it might have been just I should say the opposite. It might have been too juicy. Okay, let's bring this down a bit. Yeah, let's do it this way. Gotta be careful here. I got multiple layers here, so I want to be able to bring it down. Without burning through the material. Hey, Richie, good morning. How are you? See how that looks in camera. Yeah, not all that good. This stuff here was a little, this is, I think, when I started running into some interesting things with the stuff getting really juicy. Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to getting primer down on this thing just to see what it looks like. Nice shirt. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of it. Wonky, the family running a competing chocolate factory. Oh, really? Fate's Requiem, welcome. How are you? Okay, Fate's Requiem. Please correct again. Something happened recently with the name changes. Can you give me your first name again? This name change thing. I don't know what just happened with YouTube. I'm usually after a while you kind of get comfortable and you know I look at the graphics and I can associate, but there's sometimes Fate's Requiem has got to be Robert. Robert, how are you, brother? Happy Saturday to you. No joke on Willy Wonka. Wonka being chocolate factory. Yeah. Nice shirt. No, Willy Wonka. That's weird. It's Robert. Why is it not showing Sky? I don't know. That's a great question, isn't it? Everybody's handles have changed for some crazy, stupid reason. I'm going to be putting an order for PNY shirts for a few select people. What size are you again? Thank you, Richie. I am a medium. Depending on the manufacturer of the shirt. I can be small or I can be medium, but generally medium is about where I go. All right, guys, I'm going to finish sanding this foot, and then we're going to call it a session, I think. We're going to return tomorrow and just do sanding. We got a couple more minutes here just to get this thing wrapped up. So that little blobby still. Yeah. This one didn't come out nearly as good as I'd hoped. Schmedium. Schmedium. Issue I dropped my cat's pet insurance plan and offered a new one that doesn't cover anything and costs nearly $1,000. Fuck me. Are you serious? We are living in a really troubled time when it comes to insurance. I never even thought about pet. We don't have pet insurance, but I never even thought about that. I'm, again, don't want to go political, but real quickly, the insurance companies are legal gangsters. We have built up a business model that allows for legal gangstering, whatever it is, here in the United States. Unfucking real. Okay. All right, let's take a quick look. That's doing a little better. It's still not 100%, but it'll do. I mean, granted, it's the foot, so there are definitely places where some of that texturing could have smoothed out if it's been walking around for a little while on script food. So that's a lot. Great. Well, my handle never changes. I own it by copyright law. Lucky you. So you must have just I'm trying to figure out how this all happened. This is just crazy. Got to bounce, got to spend some time with my wifey too. Have fun, y'all. Peter, have a lovely evening, my friend, and thanks for popping in. Always good to hear from you, and I'm glad that you'll be joining us hopefully on a regular basis. So enjoy your evening, my friend. There's a class action about it. Good. Later, Peter. I own the copyright to TSZ and PNY. Nice. Should I copyright old school Gunpla? If anybody really wants to steal it, like, whatever, have at it. But I understand the necessity for owning some of that stuff. All right, my friends, let me do a quick brush check. Clean. That can stay. That can stay. This is now mostly done. I'm just going to have to do some cleanup. Actually, I'll do a cleanup real quickly. Let me just get in here and just get some of this stuff cleaned out. I'm using the 0 edge right now. It's basically just a really sharp point. Hey, Robert, I know it's a haul for you. Are you going to GraniteCon tomorrow up in New Hampshire? This was a great day. You deserve it. Absolutely, Joe. And you too, brother. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Name change. Did you used to have Super Chat on? Maybe getting... I'll take a look. I don't think I changed anything that way. It's possible. Great day, George, and everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Later, Tony. Have a good one, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Nick, take it easy. I'm going to be doing the sign off in just a minute. All I'm doing right now is just doing the last bit of cleanup here. But anyway, waiting to see what Robert says about tomorrow. But guys, as I'm doing this real quickly, stay safe and stay sane. All right. It is a crazy world out there, getting crazier by the minute and more dangerous. So it's up to all of us to try to make it better. Just bring down the temperature. That's all I'm going to suggest. I don't care what political party you're affiliated with. I don't care what your interests are. Just let's treat each other like human beings. That's all I ask. That's all anyone should ever ask. Just treat each other like we're human beings. Sorry. Of course, I'm getting caught into something here now. There we go. And that, yeah, almost there. Figure out where this thing goes now. Let's take a look at the other foot real quickly. Not that I can see it. Yes, I can. Boy, I filled this thing up pretty badly, didn't I? Whew. And here I thought I was going to be bailing out pretty quickly, but I guess I'm not. I want to get this finished if I can. There we go. All right. Most of that's now done. The world sucks, but most of the people around me don't. That way I get lost in my mind. Yeah. Yeah, that's the important thing, is to have a good base of people around you, right? And to keep that in mind, that for all the shittiness that's out there, that there's a lot of good. And just continue to counter the shitty and focus on the good. All righty. And that, I think, is that. All right. This foot's now done. I'm going to see what happens when we get primer on it, but I think for the most part, I'm happy with it. And if not, it'll be fine. In the end, it's going to be about the story on this thing. So with that, again, guys, I do apologize. I'll do it again. Stay safe and stay sane. Go out there and brighten the world as much as you possibly can. Crazy, dangerous world, getting crazier and more dangerous by the moment. It's up to us to make it better. I don't pay attention to politics. Come on, George, you know that. Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. It's not even about politics. Now it's just about being kind. We're even losing that part of it. And that's the thing we have to keep in mind, right, Richie? Being kind to people is what matters. Being good to people is what matters. Showing respect for others, even if you don't agree with them. Just being good. Anyway, guys, I'll be back on tomorrow for a brief bit. And we'll go from there. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you on the flip. Peace.